do you think of Mama's writing? Hello everyone, and welcome to another episode of Latte Words, where we drink coffee and talk about words. Sebastian woke up an hour earlier than he was supposed to this morning. Yeah, and then he didn't take his morning nap. So Mama has been drinking all the coffee. This is cup number 4. I am heavily caffeinated right now, which is perfect timing for this video. I know that future Sarah is going to absolutely hate me for this because I am still breastfeeding and all of this caffeine is going straight to little Sebastian. But a mama's gotta do what a mama's gotta do. This is future Sarah checking in, saying, "Screw you, past Sarah." So in a previous video, I talked a little bit about my first novel that I wrote as an adult. I'll link that video down below. But I was really disappointed with it and it never really went anywhere. That's the short gist of it. But today, I found a very, very old file from back in 2012 with my very first draft of that first novel. And I thought today I would read to Sebastian the first few pages of the first draft of my first novel. What do you think? Do you want to listen to Mama's writing? Okay, so I'm a little bit nervous about reading this. I have not read it in years. I am just gonna read it right now to all of you. So let's see how this goes. And then I'll talk about it after and tell you what I think. Okay, Sebastian, we got this file out. Let's do this. Let's just dive right in. Let's get started. "Do it," Ambrosius cried, his teeth clenching as the demon spun a wall of black around them. No! "Do what?" Emma gasped as the demon clawed at her ear. The ground was crumbling as the dark spirit swept around. I know! The dark spirit, Sebastian! As the dark spirit swept around the pair in an endless hurricane of pitiful screams. The air was so thick and menacing that Emma could hardly breathe, let alone figure out a way to escape this hellish place. I know! Lots of adverbs and adjectives. "You're the only one who can get us out of this," he yelled. "You know the consequences if you don't do it now!" In capitals. A monstrous demon, bigger and more ominous than the thousands encircling them, appeared behind Ambrosius. Its mouth, a gaping, stenching hole of decay, opened wide as it prepared to devour him. She closed her eyes as the ground dissolved beneath them. Are you terrified yet? Right, so that was kind of the prologue, I guess, or something. Anyway, so it goes on. Bunch of lines. And then Em squinted behind her mask. She'd just entered London's grandest dancing hall. Its hundreds of glimmering lights dotting the walls and ceilings. She let in a little gasp as she saw the lavish silk dresses swaying across the floor in time to the rhythmic melodies of the violins and piano playing at the far end of the large room. Every man and woman was smiling behind embellished masks. A tall red-headed woman laughed behind her laced fan as her dance partner dramatically dipped her less than a foot off the marble floor. I know you're getting bored, aren't you? He's bored with my writing. The grandeur of these events never failed to leave Emma in a state of awe. She'd attended a great deal of dances and masquerades in the 5 years since her introduction into London's aristocratic society, but each still held its own unique majesty to the young woman. Wow, you're really judging this. You don't like it? Oh, he's going for the keyboard. I think he's going to try to press delete again. Are you going to try to delete my writing again? Like everyone else in the hall, Emma loved being swept away by the frivolity and joy of these nights. He's telling me to stop, I think. He's putting his hand on my mouth. Is it really that bad? A terrible writer, aren't I? "Oh, Emma, you've outdone yourself again," Mrs. Edwards exclaimed as she bustled through the crowd to greet Emma. "Your dress is absolutely gorgeous. Queen Victoria herself would be envious." Emma smiled her gratitude, eyes lowered to convey just the correct amount of modesty. But behind her feigned humbleness, Emma beamed with pride. Her embellished dress, adorned with lace that gently cascaded off her shoulders, revealed her fair collarbone. The dress's green, Parisian silk perfectly matched her doll-like eyes, which dramatically stood out from underneath her gold mask. She relished the dozens of eyes that were turned toward her in admiration. "Thank you, Mrs. Edwards. It's Pierre Laffitte's newest design," she curtsied. "And your dress is beautiful as well. It looks like a piece by Chanteau." "Your eye for fashion never fails to be impeccable," the curvaceous woman gushed. "It certainly is a Chanteau." Emma smiled and excused herself to meet her friends, who waited on the far side of the hall. She felt a flush of warmth on her neck that signaled all attention was on her. This was something she had grown used to in her 22 years, but deep auburn hair, striking green eyes, and fair ethereal skin stood out from the crowd in an almost startling way. "Yeah, this is terrible. I think I'll save you the rest of the pain. I mean, already Sebastian here looks like he wants to strangle me. He's going for the jugular, seriously." This first read, wow. Well, those first few paragraphs, which I guess was some sort of like prologue or something, were actually kind of interesting. They were very action-filled, which is great, but there was a lot of, I think, unnecessary adjective use and I think some adverb use as well that I just, these days I wouldn't do. I feel like it's a crutch in some ways. I think I could have done something better to portray the intensifying action that's going on in this scene. And obviously, "now" in capital letters is just kind of ridiculous. It should not be necessary to put my word in capital letters like that. Otherwise, I think it's always interesting to start a story in the climax. It might be kind of overdone now. It might be important to maybe do some sort of twist on that. But then when we get to that first scene in the ballroom, oh my gosh, she is such a dull character. She is such a Mary Sue, like I was saying in my old video. Oh, this perfect, beautiful girl who everyone loves and is attracted to. And yeah, and she's rich and, you know, she's white and she's living in Victorian England and all of those kind of basic things that I think these days are not very interesting because so many characters have been this way and it's just not unique anymore or interesting. I know, it's not, is it? And Sebastian is getting so bored. Look at how bored he is. He just wants to run around. He wants to get away from me and my writing. I know you hate it so much. You hate it. My own child hates my writing. Yeah, those were my first few pages of this book. And now you can kind of get an idea why I kind of died. So now I challenge you to read the first few pages of the first draft of the first book that you wrote either as an adult or even as a kid. I'm still trying to find my old books from when I was a kid. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. Please make sure to subscribe and hit like below. And we will see you next time. Bye!